I believe a black hole is where time ends in its parent universe, and that a white hole is where time begins in its child. I believe the Big Bang is the re-expression of a parent black hole's interior as a new boundary state, which we observe as the perfect blackbody spectrum of the CMB. At the singularity, entropy cannot increase further in its existing direction, so time seemingly halts from an infalling perspective. But the arrow of time actually bends, re-emerging in a new direction. This bend forms a causal wall, a second horizon beyond the event horizon, which severs causality so that no information is lost. The entirety of the parent's matter-energy history, past and future, contributes to the boundary conditions of the child. Gravity itself arises as the curvature of spacetime because the arrow of time is being bent by the contents of the universe to reach across this wall to the contents of the parent black hole, which are one and the same. This is quantum entanglement. Spacetime curves because entangled bonds attempt to reconnect across the causal wall or the literal direction entropy moves in. This forms entropy sinks as spacetime curves to trap infalling matter. First, we observe the space component bend until light can no longer follow a null geodesic outward, forming an event horizon. Then the time component bends until entropy hits a maximum and time appears to stop. At the wall, time bends as entropy moves into a new direction, opening a fresh, expanding universe that's based upon initial geometry set by the parent black hole's scale and conditions across its entire existence. Due to the causal break, nothing is lost from the parent universe until evaporation begins, and I will attempt to explain Hawking radiation and evaporation in a bit. But in the earliest epochs of a child universe, the fabric of spacetime is extremely thin. The gravity wells formed easily. The earliest wells were closest to this causal wall, and may have punctured directly through to the parent, providing a final weak return channel. When the hole in this wall closes up, the contents of the first formed wells are regurgitated out back into the parent universe, reappearing in the parent universe as a final spurt of Hawking radiation, ejected like squeezing water from a nearly empty hose by flattening it. The spurt is small because when entropy first started off into this direction, the fabric between parent and child was much thinner, and the early universe required much less entangled content to curve deeply. But as universes mature, its space-time fabric thickens with the increase in entropy, making curvature progressively harder to achieve and effectively making space-time less reactive to mass over time. Early bird gravity wells are therefore stronger and more abundant than predicted by the lambda CDM, explaining the inexplicable galaxies discovered by James Webb Space Telescope. If you try to visualize the beginning of the child and the end of the parent as opposite sides of this causal wall, the black hole and white hole become the closest observable points to the wall from either side. Where time ends and where time begins is where entropy changes direction. Black holes within the child universe continue this process. Their interiors are entangled with the contents of their own descendants. Because entanglement is monogamous, parent-child bonds weaken as child-grandchild bonds take their place. The gradual Hawking radiation seen in the parent is the loosening of these bonds after their contents have been repurposed into descendant universes. Evaporation serves as a generational handoff, and physical shrinkage is the slow closure of a puncture or well, as its contents essentially teleport into new black holes created and contained by its child universe to create offspring of its own. Because entanglement is monogamous, the contents cannot exist in three places at once and disappear from the original parent, decreasing its mass. Gravity is the curvature of space and time by entangled bonds between our universe and the associated content within its parent black hole. Hawking radiation is the result of the expended correlations, or loosened bonds, being released to form new bonds between the child and its grandchildren. Our cosmos is part of a lineage, and its structures were shaped by the inheritance of its parent and its own role in birthing future universes. The genealogy of spacetime is potentially unending, and our universe is only a part of one generation.